Alright guys, today we're going to do the Fortified Pub. Don't know really what that's called. Let's go ahead and pop it open. You have everything together before you start. I'm not there yet. So you got this fluff here. If you look, it says instructions available at TT Combat, yada yada. So, by the way, this is Noble Struggle Otis Lucas for those who have not really been paying attention too much to this. Wow, that fell right out. I'll see you later. So we have multiple different guys with some areas, a lot bigger pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and print off these instructions, and afterwards we'll go ahead and start. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in about 10 seconds. Alrighty, so I went ahead, I printed them off like I did beforehand, and one of two things. If you print them off like you get them from the site and you directly print them, for some reason or another, your prints will come out completely black. And so I couldn't figure out why I was doing this necessarily when you print directly from the site. And if you don't believe me, here are some pages. And it's just wasted ink on wasted ink. So instead, I tried to find a way to print it off properly. And what I did was I took a screenshot of each page and printed those off. Well, that worked, and I did not receive the black layer afterwards. So that's what I'm going to be working with to build. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, since I've been back, I added this front plate and I've added this side. Now, something I'm going to recommend that I highly recommend you do is if you notice, move these guys here. On the instructions, it has you build them both at the same time. I recommend waiting to build one side till you finish the other, and that's because this is a box that can shift. It can move. So having the other one build at the same time, it can be a little bit messy. So it's better to build one side than build the other for at least these 4 items here, which is simply just taking it. This is without super glue. This is just to show you guys what the actual part looks like. Actually, I'll show you how I did it. And maybe you can do the same thing if it works for you. So put that like that, put that like that, and put this like this on, like such. And then technically, you have your already made wooden box. You just go around on these corners here and along the other side here, and dab with super glue, and then you're done. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. Alrighty, so something I've learned while putting this together to help you guys' frustration, if there is any. This piece here, yeah, don't go ahead and glue this piece onto there just yet. Put these guys on, put them individually so you can push them down and make them completely flat. They're a bit harder to put on if you're trying to put it onto the whole assembly. So this piece, keep off, put these ribbons on, and then you can just simply place it down right into there and then glue it right in. So that way you're not having such an issue with fighting the whole item versus actually just worrying about your sub-assembly you're putting together. And then you just glue the 4 sides in. Let's just do one long bead at the top. Okay, just like that. Usually you'll use about a whole thing of this super glue, by the way, per set. I'm not familiar with that. Warhammer figures don't take too much super glue, but super gluing wood together takes a bit. So, the more you know. Alrighty, so something important to note. This top is still a little bit loose. Something very important to note about this guy here. The pages might not show it being detailed, but the actual part is supposed to be detailed. So try to use a little bit of common knowledge when it comes to, well, what part should actually be going where for facing out wise, because it will not show on the directions half of the time from what I found out. But here's it so far. It's not too bad. I have a little bit of trying to come apart over here, and the top piece loves to come off still. So, still working on fixing up that. But overall, it's not going too bad actually, guys. You would think with being a bigger item, you'd have more pieces, but actually it's about the same complexity of the Orc Lookout. The only difference is the Orc Lookout had a little bit more unique pieces, as this is more building up a square box. Now that just might be because it's building up Astartes buildings or plain Gothic humanoid buildings versus building Orc buildings. So we'll see if there's any change between the Orc and the humans as we proceed. But for now, that's my little tidbit. Alrighty guys, we're getting now to the end. And this is what I have so far. It's looking pretty good actually. So let's go ahead and work on the lower piece now that makes the circle of this part. Well, alrighty guys, I'm about to finish up this bottom portion here to be able to take it, put it through, and call it good right here. The only thing I want to show you though is the quick tip with these 2 pieces. So ideally they have you go ahead, put it on, and well, they have you take it, put it on here, and then put that on. What I'm telling you is this. You see this top bit? Take off the top bit completely. Say screw it. Right? Now you just have this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put this onto here. And it fits so smooth, right? Well, now we're going to put it right through here in this hole. And because you have surface area to press it down, it's a lot easier than putting the small bit in and then putting that on. Just a quick tip to save you guys time. It was a pain in the ass. I didn't really figure out how to do it better than what the instructions showed me how to do it till about the 3rd one in. And by that time, my fingers are just cramping. So afterwards, all I did was I took this little glue stick, did a swab, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, and then run across the front, and then it's done. So, honestly, when I got to the end, I kind of said, screw the instructions. They're basically telling me, well, they're not really showing you a lot. The instructions are pretty darn vague, unfortunately. One thing that I apparently missed in the beginning, or it didn't show, is this bridge right here that needs to be put in. And that's kind of troublesome. A thing I missed was a ladder here. Well, a step here. Well, that step I accidentally put here. It just fit into that same slot. So my issues, my actual issues over the whole thing was I missed a step here. And on the inside, if you look in here, I had the detail part on the outside because I was thinking it was going to be on the outside, but it was meant for the staircase. Now overall, you can't tell it. It's more of the me making it. I see the issue. And unless I wanted to take this whole thing apart, I might as well leave it. So for the sake of me admitting that I need to leave it for now, I'm going to say that Make sure you're doing each step properly and it looks right for the overall page here while you're going through, because it's easy to make mistakes. Like earlier on, I had this facing the bare side facing inward because I thought that was going to be projecting out. And so I had to take it apart and put it back together for that. So look twice, do once. But for that, we have now finished this guy here. Now, there's probably a way to attach them, but I think I'm actually going to keep them separate just for the case that it makes it more of a modular set. So for reference, you can't put a vulnerable dreadnought in here. It's a little bit too small. Here is a intercessor Space Marine. You can fit him right there. Pretty neat. And here is a tactical Space Marine. You can easily fit him right there. So I'll see you guys next time. And this has been It's Lucas with another construction of tabletop terrain. Where we're going to next is an orc mech shop, which is this guy right here, and I'll see you guys then.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe if you like our content and make our struggle a little bit less of a struggle. Appreciate you.